Alrighty. It's time. It's definitely time. What's going on? I don't even feel like I'm. Ugh. Why am I tired? Here we go. In three, two, one. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Monday, September 14th, 2020. My name's Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Remember, you can get. Okay. The mice in my attic are not mice. I have established this with 100% certainty. They're not even in my attic. It's a pair of raccoons on the grapevines outside my bedroom window right now. They're eating all of the grapes with their little raccoon hands. Apparently they're gorging pre-winter. Holy crap. And I'm fairly convinced that before they climbed up, they were shaking the grapevines. Like we would shake a tree to get an apple down. Oh, man. So that was at 4:30, and I thought about getting up because I was pretty awake. But I laid back down. I got a little bit more sleep. How was your weekend? I had a pretty good weekend. Organized a bunch of stuff in the garage. Got rid of some stuff. Lots of work outside. A lot of winter prep going on right now. If you were unaware, I don't know if I mentioned this on Friday. The Whistlekick Martial Arts Radio website is having problems. I don't know if those were fixed. I have to check my email. I've got somebody working on it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that it's all better. We'll see. What else? What else can I tell you? It was a good weekend. It was a warm weekend. Any weekend in September where I can be working outside, and Gabe says his weekend was smoky. Well, for those of you that don't know, Gabe lives on the West Coast. Yes. Any weekend in September where I can be outside without a shirt is a pretty good weekend. We've got some cooler weather coming. I think Wednesday looks to be the last really warm day for a little while, possibly until next year. But with the way 2020's been, it'll probably snow all through October and then be done or something ridiculous. Who knows? The world's crazy. The world's utterly crazy right now. Even crazier than it was. Which, if you had asked me last year, hey, how much crazier can the world get? I always said, not that crazy. We're pretty near crazy saturation. Nope. Getting crazier. What else happened this weekend? Spent time with friends, had some great food. Showed. So those of you that don't know the area I live in, it's small. It's not terribly populated. So when you factor in coronavirus and the restrictions that go along with it, there aren't a lot of options for going out. And we have mask mandates, which I'm totally fine with. And a buddy wanted to get together, and I said, let's go to Applebee's. Because it's cheap and there are usually people there who are willing to, converse, as opposed to a lot of the other restaurants around right now where people are like, get away. And I had completely forgotten. I don't know if they existed, all of them across the country. Criminals that sit on the table. And we ended up sitting there and playing trivia for like an hour and a half. Had our food, and we're just playing trivia. Set the local restaurant record. But it was a good time. Had a lot of fun. Trivia is fun. Trivia is a lot more fun in a group. It's one of those things. I wonder if we could a version of Jeopardy or something. I think there would be too much arguing about the answers. Otherwise, it just becomes history questions. Oh, we might be able to do it. For most people, it'd be pretty obscure. Maybe that would be the fun part. I'll put that on the list of ideas. Excuse me, I'm hiccuping. What's going on today? I'm really making an effort to go to Taekwondo tonight. I really hope I can get there. Fingers crossed. I don't know what your training's looking like, but mine is infrequent, intermittent, and I don't really want you on me. How about you lay next to me? Right there. No, right there. No, right there. No, right there. You lay down right there. Yeah, kicking things. Just I hit the heavy bag last night a little bit at the gym. There's a heavy bag. Nobody was there. Beat on it a bit. Felt good. Oh, it felt good. Never wanted to, just haul off and like hit people. Like fighting isn't a big thing that I want to do, but hitting a bag, it's fun. Just to be able to sink into it, because otherwise, where are you practicing power? If you always practice just standing there, and then you go to hit something, your balance is going to be different. You ever go to hit a bag and it moves? Or you go to hit a person and they move and you lose your balance and you fall, or even worse, I've seen people hurt themselves because of the expected resistance, so the way they express force. You got to practice hitting things as hard as you would use those techniques on the street. If that's important to you. I think it's important, just once in a while. You calm down? I washed my robe and I took it out of the dryer last night and put it on, and it was the best. It's like wearing a warm blanket. If anybody's seen that episode of Seinfeld where Kramer becomes obsessed with wearing warm clothes just out of the dryer, and he's at the pizza place and he has them bake his shirt, and it comes out and he puts it on and he burns himself and it's got holes, and then the guy manning the oven says, what does he say? What do I know about cooking a shirt? Baking a shirt? Something like that. Great show. Great show. Well, I think we should see what we have to talk about today, Zuza. Let's see. What did you all write in for me to talk about? Questions and comments and all that stuff. And if you got stuff for me to talk about, drop it in the comments section below after the episode, and I'll talk about it tomorrow. All right. Oh, and it's Monday, so we have an episode, and it already has spam on it. Hold on. Let me remove this notification. Or this comment. Report unwanted commercial content or spam. Removed. Back to notifications. Oh no, what's the episode? Today's episode is this. Yeah, this is Sensei Lorenzo Sandoval. Nice guy. Had a great time talking with him. He is out in Las Vegas, and we talked about some different stuff on this one. You know what? Just go listen to it. Just listen to it. If you're watching the show, you probably do anyway. So just a reminder, there's a new episode up. Listen. Enjoy. All right. We've got comments today from John and Frank and past guest. What's his last name? Johnson? Cecil. John. Oh, shoot. What is his name? What is his his last name? Now I'm embarrassed. Hold on. Hopefully we can chalk this up under Jeremy's not awake yet. His comment is, if you have squirrels in the attic, put the cat up there and see what happens. Cecil Washington, yes. Now it's obvious. Now my brain's like, yeah, of course. He says, he commented, do you have squirrels in the attic? And I said, maybe something. And he said, if you have a cat, you may want to send the cat up there at night and see what the cat does. I know that a cat massacred a clan of squirrels that were living in the overhang of our old house. I don't know that this one would massacre anything anymore. She would want to. But as creepy as it is up there, I couldn't in good conscience send her up there. I don't. But now that I know it's raccoons outside, it changes things. Once the grapes are gone, they'll move on. So I may try to get outside today and pick more of them. All right. Next, so on Friday, because it was 9/11, Frank made an executive decision, which I totally support, about jokes and not having jokes on 9/11. So we've got jokes today. So these are the jokes we would typically have on Fridays. Why did the deer and the chipmunk laugh so hard? Because the owl was a hoot. What kind of bugs read the dictionary? Spelling bees. Why was the fish depressed? Current events. That's a good one. What do you call a dinosaur that's scared all the time? A nervous Rex. All right. And so next, we've got a couple questions here from John. I know there are a lot of instructors that tune into this. Have martial arts schools been seeing an increase in interest due to Cobra Kai being released on Netflix? The head instructor at the Taekwondo school where I train has had an increase in calls from potential new students recently, which he accounts in large part to Cobra Kai. Do you think schools will be able to take advantage of this increase in interest in a way that will lead to long-term students, given the current COVID-19 restrictions in most areas? We've released a number of resources regarding COVID-19 and what schools might consider doing. So there's two parts here. Is Cobra Kai going to lead to interest? Yes. How much? I don't know. My suspicion is that the vast majority of people watching Cobra Kai are people who maybe trained a little bit as children and are in their 30s to 50s. We probably also have some of their kids watching with them. Some of them may be interested in training. that shouldn't be making so much noise. You can probably hear the hydroponic system. I made some changes on it yesterday. I don't recall it being this loud prior to now, so sorry. Sounds like someone's peeing for a while. It's not me. It's my plants. When we think about the major cultural shifts that led to people participating in martial arts, it's the early 70s with Bruce Lee, it's the early 80s with Karate Kid, it's the early 90s with Ninja Turtles, and there really hasn't been anything of substance. Cobra Kai may become that. It's too early to tell. My guess is no. My guess, and here's the reason. If you follow along with Cobra Kai, who are the main characters? They're not young children. In each of those others, you have someone that people want to be. Nobody wants to be Daniel LaRusso. From Cobra Kai, very few people watching are going to want to be Daniel LaRusso. Very few people are going to want to be Johnny Lawrence. They will identify with some of the younger characters, and if those characters get bigger roles as the story arcs, we might see that, but as it's written now, I don't think so. Part B. Do you think schools will be able to take advantage of this increase in interest in a way that will lead to long-term students given the restrictions? I paraphrased a little bit. Yes, with a caveat. For anybody to have long-term success at this point with existing or new students, there's one major thing that they have to do, and that is to think out of the box. If we think about the way martial arts has been taught from as long as any of us have been training, we haven't had to worry about partner drills. We haven't had to construct a martial arts paradigm that doesn't involve physical contact. And now we do, at least in most places. That requires some out-of-the-box thinking. If your version of martial arts is simply to strip out that partner work and not replace it with something, it's just as unsustainable as if you, let's say you take the way a typical person eats and they become a vegetarian, and all they do is they take out the meat and they increase the consumption of the other things. That's not sustainable. Most people who have meat in their diet, that's their protein source. You take that out, you don't have enough protein, right? And over time you become unhealthy. Same kind of deal. Martial arts without partner work, without additional changes, is unsustainable. It's unhealthy. It's not fun for most people. So, depends on the school. Coffee is good. Next, we have 3 quotes from Frank. Mixed martial arts was invented by Brazilians whose families had been trained by the Japanese. Those Brazilians came to the US, where their invention was bought out, gussied up, and presented to the world, which found it good. David Mamet. Mamet? Mamet? So some slight factual issues. I have some slight factual issues with that, but on the overall, I'd call that mostly accurate. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The reason MMA is popular is because it is easy to understand. It is exciting to watch, and you need no prior knowledge to understand who's winning and what's going on. But if you want to go deeper, aka the grappling side of it, you can really nerd out. It's sports. If I'm watching basketball, and I've never watched basketball before, it doesn't take me very long to understand how basketball works. I gotta take that ball, and it's gotta go through that hole, and you get points, and the more times one side does it, they're the ones that win. Of course, there are rules, there's nuance, there's strategy. So if someone wants to go deeper, they can. And if you look at the most popular professional sports, you can do that. You can understand it fairly easily, but go deeper on it. Football, same kind of deal. Football, you can go really deep. There's a lot of strategy, there's a lot of statistics. And you have that with MMA. Do you have that with traditional martial arts? Not the way it's presented now. Especially if you take a traditional martial art turned combat sport like Olympic Taekwondo. Well, why doesn't he just punch him in the face? Because you can't. Why not? It's one of the rules. But why? It just is. That doesn't resonate for the average person. Why did he just tap him on the head? Because it's point sparring. But he could have knocked him out. But that's not the point. But why? It just is. Now, I'm not disparaging either of those martial arts or either of those, we'll say, combat sports, those activities. They're fun. I've participated in both. I enjoy them. I don't do MMA. I don't want to. I don't want to get punched in the face. But if we want traditional martial arts to grow, we need to figure this out. Is there a way? Yep. Jeremy, have you figured out something you think will work? Yep. What is it? Can't tell you yet. When we do it, we're going to do it right, and it's going to cost a lot of money. Phase 1 of Whistle Kick, make money. Phase 2, put a lot of that into fixing competition. In martial arts, every time you graduate, move to another level, you don't forget everything you've done. You build on it, but it's always there. Melody Beattie. I don't know Melody Beattie. The last name is spelled different, I think. I think that's spelled differently than Warren Beatty's last name. But it's true. It's how it should be, right? And this is one of the issues that I have with a lot of traditional martial arts curriculum. Or if we want to be proper with the Latin, curricula, is that so much is front-loaded that it becomes difficult to build on it. And it's something that I'm thinking about again, because I had a friend come to me and she wants me to teach her son martial arts. They live in Texas. I do not live in Texas, so this would have to be an online thing. Am I willing to consider this? I'm considering it. What's holding me back? Time and brain. But I'm thinking about it. Now, when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about how would I do it? In a lot of martial arts curriculum, schools, they teach you 60% of the techniques in the first year or two. I don't think that needs to happen. In fact, I don't think it should happen. You don't learn 60% of the forms, usually. In some schools, that happens because throwing new stuff at the students is a way to keep them from getting bored. There are other ways. If the only way you know to keep your students from being bored is to throw new techniques at them, guess what? It's going to get worse as they advance. So, don't do that. What's the alternative? Different ways of looking at that same technique. Let's say you take a side kick. A side kick done out of each stance and at different heights, and jumping and moving forward, step behind, step in front, retreating, cutting off at an angle. It's a different kick. It's a dramatically different kick with different requirements. If somebody masters that kick in every way, or at least gets good at it, it becomes easier then to teach them another kick because they've got the footwork. Can you teach footwork without the kick? I guess, but nobody's going to want to do it, or it's not going to make sense. So, I've just given myself some ideas. Cheerfully fessing up to our failures turns crazy mind off, humility and compassion on. I learned this in a karate dojo that had a strange tradition. Everyone there loved recounting failure stories, and after an evening of smacking one another, we'd sit and have a beer while the students swapped tales of martial arts disaster. Martha Beck. I love that. You know, one of the things that I've always noticed in the best martial arts schools with the best students and the strongest retention, there is a tradition of social engagement among the students. And it's something I've advocated for in martial arts schools forever. If you want to keep your students coming, you need to build a social component into your school. And this is a great time to do that. If you have classes through the week for all of your, what if once a month there was a parents' night out for free on Saturdays? Parents would love that. How much does that really cost you? How many students do you have to retain to make it profitable? Not very many. For the adults, what if there's, one night of the week or even one night of the month where everyone is encouraged to go out and socialize? The instructor shouldn't be part of it. Really high ranks who are responsible for teaching classes probably should not be part of it. It should be a peer thing. That's a whole different question. The social component of what we do matters because it's a lot easier to forgive your friend when they slip and kick you in the face than when someone that you barely know does it. The very nature of what we do as martial artists requires trust, and it is easier to trust your friends. Right, Grunty? She's sitting here going, I think it's like the beginning of a purr that won't start. All right. Great questions. Thank you to Master Washington, to John, and to Frank. Yeah, I'm more tired than I thought I was. I went to bed early. I should have been good to go, but stupid trash pandas. Two of them, right there. I think I'm expecting them to come back. And they were not scared of me. So I think what I'll do is I even turn on my outside light, which is 3 feet from where they were. Didn't faze them. I think I'm going to set up my camera with my telephoto lens, and I should be able to get some photos. Because I tried taking photos and just with my phone, and the lighting was awful because I'm inside and it's dark and they're as backlit as you can be, and it didn't work. So, all right. Thanks for watching. Leave me questions or comments or things after the show ends. Support us with whistlekick.com. Use the code FirstCup15 or support the Patreon, Patreon.com. And other than that, I'll see you back here tomorrow, 6:30 a.m., bright and early, U.S. Eastern Time, of course. Take care, everybody.